Mr. Tyler Marshall, founder and CEO, EYC Labs, United States of America. Mr. Marshall is a CEO, product owner, and IT business analyst with direct operating and consulting experience across numerous industries and domains. Most recently, he has built a hyper-focus into the intersection of agriculture, Internet of Things, machine-to-machine economy, and distributed ledger technologies such as blockchain, hyperledger, and Tangle. Globally, Tyler has launched multiple businesses, directed numerous projects, and managed software and IoT product developments and teams in India, Thailand, Australia, Malaysia, South Africa, Japan, and the United States of America. Mr. Marshall is here to address on the topic innovations in agriculture and food processing. We are privileged to welcome Mr. Marshall to the summit at Vibrant Tamilnadu.
My name is Tyler Marshall. I'm from the United States. I actually live in India now. I've lived in India for the last 3 years. I moved to India in 2015. I own an agriculture technology company. I have offices in Denver, Colorado, which is where I'm from in the USA. I have another office in Dallas, Texas, where my business partner, who is Gujarati, lives in Dallas. We have hydroponic farming, we do vertical farming, horizontal farming, aquaponics, many different farming technologies. I have an office in Australia as well, in Perth actually, on the, in West Australia. And then we have an office in East Brazil, and we have another deployment which is being executed right now in Thailand as well. In the introduction, I've worked extensively in Thailand, in Japan, in Malaysia, and now in India for the last 3 years, building my technology company. I'm very, very blessed to live in India. I'm from the US. I love the United States dearly, but my heart and soul is truly in this country. I live in Gujarat, in Ahmedabad, and thank you. It means a lot to me. Jagat was, kind enough to invite me to this event. We're working together on an initiative called Smart Village India, where my company EYC Labs is the official agriculture technology partner. So we are implementing different agriculture technologies for the simple goal of improving the livelihood of farmers. It was interesting, 6 months ago when I first started meeting with Jagat, I had all of these ideas in my mind of technologies that I wanted to implement into India, the things that I felt as if India needed. But over the last 6 months, what's happened is it's been like a gigantic requirement solicitation practice. I've been listening to pain points. I've been visiting the villages. I've been listening to the farmers. I've attended many, many summits and had many, many conversations. And what I realized is India is such a unique market. And I'll talk about, of course, global markets and things like this, but just while they're switching out the computer, I'm just sharing a little bit about what got me here. I've learned a lot about what the Indian culture and what the Indian market needs in terms of technology. And it's technologies which are already being introduced and implemented and utilized everywhere else in the world. But to get India up to speed and to get the farming and the food processing up to speed in India, there's special little characteristics which need to be met, and so that's what we're doing, and we're implementing a lot of new things. I just partnered with Microsoft last week, and so actually on Wednesday I'm leaving here and I'm going straight back to USA, and I'm going to Seattle, Washington, and the IoT, the Internet of Things division in Microsoft has partnered with my company, and we're building a new smart farm sensor specifically for the Indian market, made accessible to the Indian farmers with pricing that we're going to be rolling out in about January. And so that's really, really exciting. We're working on a drip irrigation system. We're working on a couple other systems as well with Microsoft, and so that's really, really neat. And so as was being mentioned, after the talk, I would love to speak with you guys one-on-one. For me to speak, I like to share, but I love to have conversations with people. I love to talk about what's the need, and I love to create. I'm an engineer. I'm not a public speaker, and so I would love to speak with everybody and dig deeper into your thoughts and ideas. I spoke a little bit about my background, and one of the things that is unique in the world right now, and what's happening is you have this East meets West, and you have people in India adopting Western cultures, and you have people in the West adopting Indian cultures. Myself included, about 5 years ago, I traveled to India for the first time. I went to Rishikesh. I lived in Rishikesh and I was studying yoga and these things, and I fell in love with Indian culture and Indian food and a lot of things about India. And I'm not alone, you know, I started practicing Ayurveda and these things, and a lot of people from the West, a lot of my friends in USA, they're adopting Eastern philosophies, Eastern ways of living, spiritualism, especially food practices. Indian food and ethnic foods are very, very, very popular. But then at the same time, in India, you have adoptions of Western things. And so earlier today, I heard, you know, talks about organic food, sustainability. These are things that are now starting to come to India, which have been prevalent in the West for quite some time now. And so you have this sort of cross effect happening. Which is really beautiful, because what it's doing is it's making a global marketplace. Instead of compartmentalized mini markets, now it's truly becoming a global marketplace, even more so made, you know, possible by technology through blockchain, through some of these other things that I'll speak about here in a moment. And I'll go really, really quickly because I know we're short on time, and I'll keep everything really top level in terms of the technologies. I'm just going to highlight a couple things, and then, like I said, afterwards I would love to talk more about all of these things. But as there is an Eastern adoption of Western technologies and of Western consumer and eating habits, the technology which is coming into India and other Eastern markets, it's brand new things like precision farming and IoT, smart farm sensors and things like this. And so what I'm going to do is showcase a couple of them that we're currently building right now, a couple of the technologies that we're deploying into India, and some of the other markets that I spoke about as well. We're also about to be working into Africa as well. There's a lot of similarities and pain points between the Indian and the African markets, and so I'll show a couple examples of what we're building right now. So what I'm going to talk about as well is sustainable farming. And why is sustainable farming important? When you were talking earlier about the challenges that are coming up and that the world is going to be facing with feeding more and more people, you're going to have to make, what's going to have to happen is farming is going to have to become more efficient. You're going to have less inputs, less water usage, less fertilizers, less electricity, but create more outputs, higher yields, better quality food, and things like this, okay? So sustainable agriculture is one of the ways that you can achieve that goal, using less water, and doing it in a way that's friendly to the environment, has less of an impact on the environment, but still has a greater output of yield and a greater output of quality of food. So on one hand, you have technology, and then on the other hand, you have sustainable agriculture. And so what my company does is we blend the two, which is really fun. So I'll show you one video really quickly. This is a video, this is in Dallas, Texas. This is our office in Dallas, Texas, and we're building a vertical farming inside of shipping containers. We can actually build this in any unused space. We just use shipping containers because it's cool. It's a neat way to showcase this technology. So go ahead and take a look at the video really quickly, and this shows one of our capabilities. So I do apologize, there was a slight error in the order of video. So this is actually, I'll play the vertical farming next, but this is actually aquaponics. And so we have two technologies which we're deploying right now. One is vertical farming and one is aquaponics. And so what this is a completely organic growing method, which uses fish. We use tilapia or we use perch, depending on where we're at in the world. Right now we're building a pilot project in Gujarat, in Gandhinagar, where we have a 10,000 square foot greenhouse, which we're building an aquaponics facility in. We have end users of Subway and McDonald's who are going to be buying the organic lettuce from our aquaponics facility. And what's really cool about aquaponics is, as you saw, 40% less water because the water recirculates in the system. It never leaves the system, and it's inside of a greenhouse, so you get less evaporation. We float the plants on styrofoam. The roots grow down into the water, completely soilless, and the whole thing is controlled with a mobile phone. It uses a fraction of the labor. You saw there's 2 people there who can run the whole facility. You have harvests all year round. You can have 6 to 8 harvests of lettuce a year. So the ROI on these facilities are amazing. Again, sustainable farming, very, very little impact to the environment. The fish are not harmed, of course, it's ahimsa. So, but yeah, so that's one of our technologies for aquaponics. And actually, if you can play the second video, I'll show you, since we were just speaking about vertical farming, so you can see what I was talking about, I'll show you that one next. So again, technology. Farming, which is enhanced by technology. This, you saw those purple lights. Those are LED lights, which use a fraction of the amount of energy as typical lights would. They emit a red and blue spectrum. It's a red, green, blue LED lighting. We take the green out. It uses red and blue, which increases the efficiency at which the plants photosynthesize, essentially. And so the plants grow faster, more naturally. Inside of this one shipping container, this is a 40-foot shipping container, you grow year-round. You can have the output of an entire acre of leafy greens. You can't grow every type of vegetable in this. You can't grow things with big, robust root structures and things like this, but you can grow vine vegetables, you can grow vine fruits, you can grow leafy greens, Ayurvedic herbs. Same pilot project in Gandhinagar right now. We have 3 shipping containers, which we're doing tulsi, basil, leafy greens, and ornamental flowers, carnations and things like this. And so we're building those 3 currently right now as well. And again, the whole thing controlled with a mobile phone. You can check what the temperature of your water is, what the temperature of the indoor atmosphere is. You can see how close you need to harvest. You're alerted on your mobile phone when you need more fertilizer. The whole process is automated. And so again, I would love to talk more about all of these things on a one-on-one basis, but just staying really, really top level. Those are some of the technologies that go into there. Okay, thank you. So I'm being asked to wrap up. So just to summarize, again, the pain points that we are, the benefits, 10 times outputs without increasing a footprint. Okay, that's huge for India without increasing a footprint because of the land parceling which is going on. You have farmers who pass their farms down to their generations. They have 5 kids. You have 5 acres which become 1 acre. You need to try to figure out how to monetize that land. Through these various agriculture techniques, that becomes possible. Through the mobile technology, you can form cooperatives with other farmers. So one farmer becomes 10 farmers, becomes a unit which is much more powerful. Then you can partner with logistics and import-export partners and come together and sell things as an entire unit again. So it takes that parceled land and it puts it back into a larger footprint. And just the technologies which are there, Internet of Things, it's sensors, it's controllers, smart farm sensors. It's what I'm building with Microsoft right now. Artificial intelligence, it makes practical use of data, farming data. All of those Internet of Things sensors, they're gathering data. Artificial intelligence makes use of that data and tells a farmer exactly what to do along each stage of a growing cycle to optimize their yield. Drone mounted, this is cool stuff. We're building drones right now. We're building cameras which fit onto the bottom of the drone. The drone flies over a camera, takes an NDVI picture of the farm, and it says exactly what areas of the farm are most healthy, need more nitrogen, need more phosphorus, need more potassium, need more nutrients, and you can start to micromanage exactly what areas of your farm you need for what types of fertilizers, and what does that do? That decreases the amount of fertilizer that you spend throughout the course of a harvest, because now you need, okay, I only need a little bit here instead of broadcasting fertilizer throughout the entire harvest. NDVI cameras, really cool. Cloud-based marketplace, that's what I was just talking about, forming cooperatives with other farmers and things like this. Blockchain, I'll get into that if anyone wants to talk to me about blockchain after the talk, but it's a way of storing information on a ledger. So we were talking about the Salmonella outbreak a little bit earlier with peanuts. Through blockchain, it's a way of tracking data. It's a way of tracking a supply chain. So when the Salmonella outbreak happens, you can go back and look at instantly, you can see where did those peanuts come from, and you can quarantine, and you can quarantine the source of those peanuts immediately, as opposed to taking, you know, the type of diligence which is required with traditional legacy tracking methodologies. And so again, right now I'm working with Mr. Jagat Shah on the Smart Village India initiative, which there's 60 pilot villages across the country, spread across every state, which we would be taking a look at individual pain points and creating solutions for them. And then once the playbook is written within those 60 villages, then it can scale out to India as a whole. I'm working with Microsoft. Right now, of course, USA, India, Brazil, Australia. I forgot to put the Australia flag, but I apologize. I love Australia dearly. And that's it. So again, thank you so much. I leave on Wednesday, and so I would love to speak to anybody about any ideas that you have or any unique, pain points that you have or anything like this. And so thank you all very much for your time, and thank you, Tamilnadu.